She had everything: the cars, the luxury, the soft life everyone wanted. But there was one problem: none of it was real. And the day the truth came out, it didn't just embarrass her, it destroyed everything. Mercy did not own anything she posted online, yet thousands of people believed she was living the dream. Every morning in Abuja, she woke up in a one-room apartment with cracked walls, but her followers thought she lived in a glass mansion in Maitama. Her real mattress was thin and tired, but her pictures showed king-sized beds with white sheets and golden pillows. She had mastered the art of illusion so well that even she sometimes forgot where the lie ended and her real life began. Mercy was 24, beautiful in a way that made people stare twice, with smooth caramel skin, sharp cheekbones, and long black braids that touched her waist. Her eyes were dark and confident, but behind them lived a fear she never admitted. She called herself Abuja Local Baddie online, and the name began to feel more real than her actual identity. Every weekend, she borrowed clothes from a boutique she secretly owed money to. She would promise the owner exposure, but deep down, she knew exposure would not pay the growing debt. She posed in front of cars that were not hers, sitting inside them like she owned the keys. She walked into expensive restaurants, ordered the cheapest drink, and took pictures that suggested she had just finished a 5-course meal. Her captions were bold and loud, filled with words about soft life, luxury, and success. People admired her, envied her, and some even hated her. But Mercy did not care because attention felt better than truth. At night, when the lights went off and the noise of Abuja faded, she stared at the ceiling and wondered how long she could keep the lie alive. She pushed the thought away every time, telling herself that one day the fake life would become real. One day she would actually afford everything she was pretending to have. Until then, she would keep performing, because stopping meant facing the truth, and the truth scared her more than anything. The day Daniel sent her a message, Mercy felt like her prayers had been answered. Daniel was everything her fake lifestyle claimed to attract. He was rich, polished, and moved in circles she only saw on social media. He worked in Abuja as a businessman with connections that opened doors without effort. When he first messaged her, he said he admired her confidence. Mercy smiled at her phone, her heart beating fast, because this was the opportunity she had been waiting for. If she could convince him that her life was real, everything would change. She responded carefully, maintaining the image she had created. They began to talk every day, and Mercy became more careful than ever. She avoided video calls when she was at home. She only answered calls when she was in places that matched her online personality. When Daniel suggested they meet, her stomach tightened with fear. But she agreed because saying no would raise questions. The meeting was set at an expensive restaurant in Wuse. Mercy spent hours preparing, borrowing a designer dress she could not afford, and wearing heels that hurt her feet. When she arrived, she carried herself like someone who belonged there. Daniel watched her as she walked in, impressed by her confidence and beauty. They talked, laughed, and for a moment, Mercy almost forgot she was acting. Daniel told her he liked genuine people. The word genuine hit her chest like a quiet warning, but she ignored it, smiling as if nothing was wrong. By the end of the night, Daniel was already falling for the version of her that did not exist, and Mercy, for the first time, felt she might actually win. The deeper Mercy went into the lie, the more expensive it became to maintain. Daniel began to invite her to places that required more than confidence. He wanted consistency, and consistency needed money. Mercy borrowed more clothes, more accessories, and more time she did not have. The boutique owner began to complain, asking for payment. Mercy kept promising, but the promises were losing value. Her rent was overdue, and her landlord had started knocking on her door more often. Still, she refused to slow down. She could not afford to lose Daniel. He represented everything she wanted her life to become. One evening, Daniel surprised her with a visit. He said he wanted to see her at home. Her heart dropped immediately. She tried to change the topic, but Daniel insisted. He wanted to know her fully, not just the version she showed outside. Mercy panicked but managed to delay him, saying her place was under renovation. Daniel believed her, but his curiosity grew. From that day, Mercy knew time was running out. The lies were beginning to demand answers, and answers were something she did not have. It happened on a quiet afternoon that Mercy would never forget. She was at the boutique begging for more time when two men walked in. They were looking for her. The boutique owner pointed at Mercy without hesitation. Her heart began to race as the men approached her. They introduced themselves as agents sent by a car owner she had been using for pictures. Mercy froze. She had taken photos with the car weeks ago, pretending it belonged to her. Someone had reported it and the owner was not happy. They accused her of impersonation and damaging the owner's reputation. People in the boutique began to watch. Some recognized her from social media. The whispers started immediately. Isn't she that Abuja baddie? Mercy felt her world collapsing around her. She tried to explain, but her words sounded weak even to her own ears. The men threatened to involve the police if she did not publicly admit the truth. Tears filled her eyes as her carefully built image began to crumble. At that moment, Daniel walked into the boutique. He had come to surprise her. Instead, he walked into her nightmare. Their eyes met, and Mercy saw the confusion on her face. Then the disappointment followed. It was worse than anger, because anger meant he still cared, but disappointment meant something had already ended. Daniel did not shout. He did not argue. He simply asked one question. Who are you really? Mercy opened her mouth, but no words came out. For the first time, she had no script, no caption, no filter, just silence. The crowd watched as the truth unfolded without Mercy. She broke down, confessing everything. The fake lifestyle, the borrowed clothes, the lies. Daniel listened without interrupting. When she finished, he nodded slowly. Then he said something she would never forget. I liked you, not the life. You didn't need all this. Those words cut deeper than any insult, because they were true. Daniel walked away without looking back. And just like that, Mercy lost the one real opportunity she had. After that day, Mercy's social media began to change. The comments turned from praise to mockery. People who once admired her now laughed at her. Brands stopped responding to her messages. The boutique owner demanded full payment and refused to lend her anything again. Her rent gave another final warning. Mercy found herself alone, facing a reality she had avoided for too long. She stopped posting for weeks. For the first time in a long while, she sat with herself in silence. She replayed everything in her mind, every lie, every moment she chose appearance over truth. And she realized something painful. She had not just deceived others, she had deceived herself the most. Months later, Mercy returned online, but not as the Abuja local baddie. She returned as herself. She shared her story honestly, without filters or lies. At first, people doubted her, but slowly some began to listen, because truth, even when late, carries a different kind of power. Mercy started small, building a life she could actually afford. She worked, saved, and learned to appreciate what was real. It was not glamorous, it was not perfect, but it was hers. And for the first time, that was enough. Moral lesson. A life built on lies will always collapse when truth shows up. It is better to grow slowly in reality than to rise quickly in deception. The image you create may attract people, but only truth will keep them. Do not trade your identity for attention, because when the attention fades, you will be left with nothing but regret. Be real, even if it's not impressive, because real will always last longer than fake.